subject was what if we are the creator of the dream? And we do a different subject each oh, it's already started live. It's great. But we do a different subject each week, and there tend to be subjects that somehow either relate to meditative life, I feel, or perhaps even things that we may notice on account of our meditations. Meditation, part of the idea is to become calm, relaxed, at peace, all these wonderful things. And in addition to that, as we get into it, it also gives us insight as to maybe higher ways of daily living, insight into what would make us most happy, maybe insights into what would make us most at peace, and all of the above. Well, today's subject, what if I am the creator of this dream, or what if we are the creator of the dream? When I first thought about doing it, I had another one in mind too, and I was debating between the two. And I actually had a whole different topic that I wanted to discuss for this first Sunday, and it was on actually a spiritual pilgrimage, and I had everything picked out exactly what I wanted to say about it and so forth, and how it related to meditative life, and I was really excited about doing the topic. And then the idea came up for what if we are the creator of the dream, not just our dreams at night, but this waking dream, so to speak, that we are in. And it seemed like more people were interested in that. And very last minute, I decided, okay, it'll definitely be on this. Well, the other one, I had the whole idea of the class prepared. This one I had not, but I said, oh, well, I'll figure it out. Woke up in the middle of the night. It's funny, my wife asked me this morning, did you sleep at all last night? But I woke up super early, and I realized that I didn't want to talk about it in the way I wanted to talk about it. I went into our library in the front of the house. I often go there to contemplate early mornings and so forth. I went in there and I sat down and I began to think. And so I knew what the topic was, and I said, what do I want to share when it comes to this? And I began to walk into the front of the house and what into the other section of the home and the living room and so forth. And I'm just walking around, and the idea of this song came to mind. And it's a song that we all know. It's a it's a nursery rhyme. It goes, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And I was saying, yes, life is like a dream. Life is but a dream. And then I got the goofy idea because I said I should make the class on, yeah, on this nursery rhyme. That's what it should be about, and then related to how we actually create the dream. And then I found myself singing it to myself as I was walking through the house, and I said, yeah, I said, wow, this is so deep. And I said, yeah, I'll even ask people to sing it with me when we come in here. And I said, we can just say it 2 times, and so anyone that wants to sing, Master, you can sing with me. No, that's goofy, but hey, here we go. Yeah, we got to have one here. Just together. I'm sorry. I didn't want to make it a long time. I forgot. He's a music teacher. But just 2 times together. Okay, together, please. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Well, I think everybody knows the song. Well, the interesting thing is I've noticed that there are things that have been given to us in childhood, maybe spiritual truths that we don't even realize that we're digesting. And to me, that's one of them, that we are actually living in a dream. This life is very dreamlike. And I don't know if anyone has ever analyzed their dreams, but if you pay attention to your dreams, you see, I was talking to one of my kids the other day who had came out of a dream not too long before we talked. And he said, "Man, for a while, I felt like I was still in the dream, even though I was in this reality." And I said, "Well, yeah, so this life is very dreamlike. So that's not that surprising." And after I did those couple laps around the living room, the dining room, and the kitchen, I went back into the library and I sat down, thinking about the class. I looked over at the wall to the right and I saw this painting. And it's a beautiful painting that my father and stepmom had. They had an art collection and it was a beautiful painting. And when I looked at it, I was reminded that I love that painting, but there's another painting that used to be there. And it was a nice picture. I got it from Goodwill, but it was very, very nice. And it was a picture that motivated me. And I love having artwork that motivates me. When I look at it, I can be inspired. In that room, there's a picture of seven flowers, which reminds me of the seven chakras, of seven force centers within. It's also a picture of a lotus, which is considered to be the the symbol of spirituality and meditation. And I could not get past the fact that even though we put up this picture my wife brought up for us to put up from the basement that we got from my dad and stepmom, and it was much more valuable, even prettier than the other picture, but it didn't inspire me. And because of that, the old picture that was leaning on the wall, I hadn't taken it downstairs yet. And it's just been sitting there for a while, which is unusual because everything in our house has a place. But for some reason, Kelly did not did not move it. It got to stay out of place. And I said to myself, this picture is going to stay here until I am inspired by this other picture and feel inspired when I sit and look at it. Because I go in that room almost every morning. And I said, because to myself, I said, because if it that one doesn't inspire me, I'm going to convince Kelly to move this other picture over so we can put this other picture on the wall with the others, you know. And I didn't know how it's going to go over, but I said, this is my plan. Well, as I'm sitting in here and I'm looking at this picture, I said, oh my God, it's a picture of two men on the front of this boat. I don't know if they're in Africa or where they are, and they have these big oars. And there's women sitting on the other side of the boat, and it's all these vibrant colors. The water is just blue, 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 and the women that are sitting on the other end of the boat have on red, and they have their big hats on for the sun and so forth. And I said, "Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream." I said, "Oh my God, I'm inspired by this picture. I don't believe it." And this is what the talk is going to be on today. I said, "Man, I can." And I looked, and the other picture was gone. Mhm. It was there the day before. Mhm. And I said, man, this is unbelievable. This is just like I said. As soon as I get inspired by that picture, the other picture is going to go downstairs. It was already down. It was there the day before. I was so unsure if I was right. I asked Kelly this morning. She didn't know why I asked her. She's not until now.
Mhm.
I asked her, I said, when did you move that picture? And she said, yesterday. I said, wow.
Mhm.
And it was like a dream. It was like just the day before, not too long ago, I was talking to one of my kids and we were talking about a dream. And you could see from everything in the dream that he created it. By the people in the dream, what was happening in the dream, but in his dream, something different was happening, but it was parallel to what was going on in his life, and it was so interesting. Now, at the time, he thought this dream doesn't make any sense, but it was paralleling so many things, and it was actually, as we talked about it, it was talking about things that were going on in his life, and it was so interesting. At one point, he shared that it became a cartoon. And at this point, when it was a cartoon, it was something that may not have been quite true. And I said, man, that's incredible. It's a cartoon because it's not quite like this. It's like you were telling yourself that although I feel this way, this is not really real. But then the rest of this real was not in the rest of the dream is not in the cartoon. And it was just so fascinating. We came to the conclusion, like at one point, I said, man, you're teaching yourself something and you're you're working all of this out. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you've done it through your dream. All these things that we've come up with, you created it. And you created it for yourself to see certain things. And we were able to see what those things were. And dreams are like this. But your life is like this also. It was so fascinating that I realized that on some level, some part of me made sure that that picture stayed there until this other one inspired me. I really thought it was never going to inspire me. I thought it was going to go up, but it happened, and it's just it's phenomenal. I've told the story before that when I first got into the meditative path, it was because, well, part of what led me to it was that there was a book in the house and it had all these techniques. And the one technique that I decided to try was to wake myself up at an oddball time. I chose 201. Didn't work the first time, you know. Second time, oh my God. Not only did it work, but my sister's cat, this is back when I was young, she came and walked across my chest and kept smacking me in the face until I woke up. And when I woke up, it was 201. There was a digital clock right there, and it said 201. And I couldn't believe it. I said, oh my God. And I expected to wake myself up, but the cat came and got me. I was like, this is incredible because somehow I'm connected to the clock, the cat, to everything. And that was what made me just because the book was on meditation, even though it had this little technique in there. That's what made me want to just get so much into meditation because I said, man, I'm connected with everything and everyone. This is unbelievable. And again, I was so blown away this morning when I looked up and I saw that some part of me made all this happen. And I don't know if any of us have had this experience before or have maybe noticed it because, uh, as they say, as a man thinketh, so is he, as a woman thinketh, so is he. The things we think about show up. We were talking earlier about meditation methods. What type of meditation uh, were you into? What type was this person doing? What type of meditation was that person doing? And I saw I can't think of her name, Debbie Allen's sister. Felicia Rashad. Other day, I don't know how I got to it on Facebook or something. I clicked on something and she was there and she was talking about meditation. And she said something that I've been saying for years. Because we're all meditating all the time. So, we can say, what type of meditation are you doing? Well, I'm doing transcendental meditation. I'm doing primordial sound, or I'm doing this type of meditation. I'm doing that type of meditation. And but and I used to notice it at one time when meditation become popular now, but at one time people were afraid of meditation, some people. And that's when I started letting people know that I would talk to that, you already meditated. Meditation is just focus. And that's what Felicia Rashad was saying. She was saying we're all meditating, we're all focusing on one thing or another, whether we realize it or whether we don't realize it. So when they have proven, they've done studies to show that when you meditate, you can become more calm. I have a son that has Tourette's, and sometimes when he'd have tics. We meditate, and the tics would just leave. It's from hitting that calm state. But just as when we meditate, we it affects whether we're calm, whether we're not calm. The purposeful meditation, the meditation with the mantra and all that, the eyes closed and all that. When we are going through our life and we're thinking about the things we don't like and the people we don't like and what pisses us off on the job, it's a meditation. And when we're talking about it, it's a mantra. It's something that we're saying to ourselves over and over. And the funny thing is, when we start that mantra that we don't like about that person that's a trip, and we're talking to our friends, what do we say next? You know who else is a trip? we continue it and we go further into that meditation. And as we focus on these things that we don't like, it creates a certain breath, uh, an uneasy breath. That breath creates certain feelings inside the body, indigestion, all types of things. Before I got into meditation, I had neck problems. Every time you saw me, I was doing like this, cracking my neck, and I don't have those issues anymore. Even though the chiropractor could point out where the subluxations were in my spine, neck and back, I don't have those issues anymore. And not because I kept going to the chiropractor. I stopped going to the chiropractor. But when I came back years later, I've told this story before, but I came back for my first wife who was going through some things, and he asked me, "How's your back? How's your neck?" I'm like, "Great." And he started asking me a bunch of questions, and after a while, he said, "It's that meditation. It's that meditation and that breathing. That's got to be what it is, because you still have the subluxations, and you stop coming." Our meditations are very powerful, and what we think about is very powerful. And whether we realize it or not, these thoughts and these meditations and these things we are saying to ourselves and these things that we are expecting, they are creating our world. Just as though when you watch something at night and you go to sleep, and then next thing you know, that particular type of situation is showing up in your dream. It's the same thing that's happening here in this reality. And most often we're doing it all the time and we don't even know it. And we're looking and we're saying, well, uh, I wish I could change this, or I wish I could change that. But we are continuously reinforcing what it is that we have based on what we are telling ourselves. based on the environments we're placing ourselves in, based on our meditation, based on our focus. Um, because I love to talk about the whole quantum physics, how when they're looking for the subatomic particles, they appear as the scientists look for. That's what's happening in our world. We're looking for how men are dogs, or how or maybe how men are great, or maybe how women are this way, or how women are that way. And whatever we're looking for is showing up. And it's our tithes. We're tithing. And it's showing up tenfold. And it's showing up everywhere we look. And we can prove it to ourselves and to our friends. And we are creating this reality. And I remember before I got married this time, I I would be talking with my friends about women, and they're like this or they're like that, or they don't make them like they used to. Even though, we've always been the same, but in my head. Uh, but the interesting thing is, I realized that I was becoming in my head, a hypocrite. I was saying that, I'm into this meditation, I'm into metaphysics, and you can have the type of life you want. And I was having it in so many ways with my business, and with so many situations in my life. But in this one area, I decided to limit myself as to what my experience could be like. And I was basing it on what I believed was an outside world. But this outside world is very much like the quantum physicists say, that the subatomic particles appear as you look for them. And whatever I've already convinced myself was the case, that was the case. So I did an experiment. I decided that I would actually, one, start speaking differently about what was possible in relationships, and then two, start speaking differently about what my situation was going to be like. Because I determined, hey, I can have someone I can date, we can have a great time, but it's not going to go here for this reason. I'm never even looking for another marriage again or anything like that, because I'm too picky. I want too many things. So I started to change what viewed as possible. I mean, went way all the way back to thinking about when I had that in a relationship. So I went back in my mind some 40 years. So when I was a kid, I was like, man, she was like this, she was like that. And this person was like this person was like that. But I did not do the things that I used to do. What I used to do was say, well, yeah, that's because we didn't have bills in common. And yeah, that's because we didn't have kids to deal with. And yeah, that's because we weren't living in the same house. So yeah, that was easy. I didn't do all that. I just said it's possible for me to have this type of relationship. And within a short period of time, it happened.